Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Cooking with Unity. I'm your host, Maximilian Moreau, and with me is my co-host, Philip Wilson.
Hello, I'm here.
So, just real quick, Two-Day Tuesday went really, really well, but it's actually
Tuesday?
not going to be called Two-Day Tuesday because it's Two-Day Tuesday. Tuesday. It's going to be called Two-Day Thursday.
Yeah.
It still kind of works, almost.
Thursday,
yeah. Thursday.
I don't know.
I'm terrible.
It's not as good. We'll think of something probably.
Yeah,
maybe.
but yeah. So on Thursday we will continue the 2D project. Man, I'm gonna be bombing when we are doing that because I have to say 2D a lot. So anyway, let's get started with our artillery game.
So yeah, Thursday.
And I need to show what I'm seeing here.
What? No, they don't need to see the screen.
All right, so animation, animator, we're never going to use those, not on this project. All right. And let's open up our wall test just to see where we were at last time. So last time we had this cool wall, and you can throw bombs through it, and it collapses when
it has ray casts.
It uses ray casts to determine if it should collapse, and it's pretty cool. One of the viewers mentioned that they had figured out some way to get it so that it wasn't collapsing before that I'd set something up wrong, which I probably did. So I will probably not go over that on this episode, but I might revisit it at some point in the future if I. But yeah, look at the comments. He may shed some light on the issue. So we have a wall and we have balls shooting at it, and that's really all we need to make this game. So as far as like our real-time component, because our game is basically going to be a turn-based game where you choose power, angle, and then you fire, and then you watch what happens, and then it goes to the other person's turn, and you will do the same thing. So this is really the real-time portion of our game shown in just a tech demo format. So really like how this looks.
Yeah, I do too.
It's really cool.
I like physics.
I do too. So what are we gonna do first? So let's go ahead and duplicate this level.
Should get the power stuff set up first.
All right. So like power and angle selection.
Angle.
All right. So wall test. What are we doing? We're going to do. Let's call this level 1. And so now we're in level 1, and it looks the same because I just duplicated the other one. And let's create a wall spawner. Let's just move this wall spawner and base somewhere into the distance. Move it out like 100 units into the distance. So now we have a much more difficult target, although we're probably still...
About what time are we thinking 2D Tuesday will happen? Probably about the same time.
It'll probably be 8:30, 9:30 range. We usually aim for 8:30 because we like to get done before the end of the night.
Yeah.
So.
Today was not one of those days. We were both rather busy.
All right. So let's go ahead and create a system for determining the power. So right now we just use fire projectile, which has a static power, and we use what is it called? That's all we use. Okay, well that's easy enough. So let's see, what's the easiest way to adjust something in a meaningful way? Let's just do it as text first. So I'm gonna go to fire projectile, and we're going to create a on Gui script here. And this is mostly going to be a debug style on Gui. We'll actually bother to make a meter or something in the future. But this will allow us to just get things moving a little bit faster. So all we're going to do here is I'm just going to create a Gui layout dot label, and we will make it say force, sorry, in quotes, force with a space, and then we do the end quote, and then we do plus, and we add the force here. So this may give us a type error. We'll see. We might have to actually do a conversion to make that text. We'll see what happens. So if I just hit play right now.
Oh.
Just thinking. Force 50. All right, cool. So that's force 50. So right now we're using the mouse to determine the aim looking direction. That was a stupid way of saying it. The point of view, I don't know. But I think we should probably change that to a keyboard style input so that it feels more like a cannon. We can basically make it move a lot slower, because the mouse is just like, it moves really quickly. And we could have it kind of just auto move, but I kind of like the idea of having it feel like it's going ratcheting as you turn. So let's create a...
there's a good question. It's unrelated, by the way, to what we're doing. But hey guys,
question.
long-time viewer, I know this is unrelated to the game, but I'm working on a multiplayer FPS. My question is, should I do raycasts or actual bullets? I would probably recommend raycasts.
Yeah, raycasts are almost always the way to go when it comes to first-person shooters.
There are cases like Max Payne uses a physical bullet only when they're in bullet time, though, I believe.
Yeah. And still, even then, I think they use raycasts to determine collision with those bullets. Yeah. So... but yeah, I would recommend going raycast unless there's a particular reason why you want it. Like slow motion is a good reason because you want to have a physical impact. If you want to have bullet drop, even then sometimes a raycast is preferred, where you actually just do basically a fake
calculation. Yeah.
But in those cases you might want to do a ballistics type thing, and I don't know. And if you want like grenades, obviously grenades you probably want to use raycasts for the explosion, but not for the, you can use sphere casts in Unity probably and get good enough. Actually, no, that's not entirely true, because that doesn't allow you to do blocked explosions.
Correct. Yeah. Raycast would allow you to do blocked explosions.
Yeah, that's what most games use raycast these days for grenade explosions, just so that if somebody's behind a wall, it will not go through the wall to the player.
Call of Duty, it's pretty much all just raycasts.
Yeah.
For their bullets. So.
Yeah. So, what are we doing? So we're going to, I'm not going to bother changing that. Yeah, let's just see if we can get the power changing real quick first. So we go back to our fire projectile, and we're going to add another input here. If input dot get axis. So we're going to use horizontal and vertical for our horizontal and vertical aiming. Or do you think we should just do vertical aiming and we'll pretend it's like a 2D game but in 3D?
I think we should have horizontal
and
vertical.
That's what I'm thinking too. That way we can have like 3D wind.
Yeah.
Have some fun with that. So
it'll be like golf.
Yeah, it will. It'll be like golf with projectiles, which is honestly...
golf.
Yeah, it is. I guess that's just golf.
But
so
with castles
input.get access. So horizontal and vertical we're going to be using. Do we have one that's already preset? I don't think we do. So I'm going to create one. So let's go into our project settings. And wait, what am I getting? Axes. So
axes.
Yeah, I want the input. There's top one. So we have horizontal and vertical, mouse scroll wheel. I don't want to use that.
There's two horizontal verticals.
Yes. These are, but if you keep them the same name, either one works. So what the top one is for is to catch the keyboard input, and the bottom one is for catching the... I
thought it was the alternate keyboard WASD, maybe.
Well, this one's the joystick input.
Oh, that's joystick.
Yeah. And honestly, you could do both at the same time. I don't know. I think the reason they set it up this way is so that you can see immediately, oh, wait, if I put them in two different places, it will both work.
Yeah, you were telling me that the PS4 controller now will support both Mac and PC and has the right button mapping.
No, I'm going to probably be using the PS4 when we do more controller stuff in the future, because it actually works cross-platform. So I'm going to add one to the size here, and we're going to create a new axis. So I'm going to call this the power axis. And for right now, let's see, what's a good choice for key commands on this? Let's do...
you could do Q&A.
Q&A?
Yeah, it's so far away.
Yeah, A and Z was what I was first thinking, because that's kind of...
typical.
What game was that? see if anyone can remember. Should I quiz people on this? No, I don't think anyone will remember. It was used in the Descent series for acceleration and backwards, back before WASD was the standard. So you'd use your arrow keys to move around, rotate the view, and then you'd use the A and Z to do acceleration and deceleration.
Those were good times, those games.
So I want to see how these ones are set up here. So dead, 0.001, gravity 3. Yeah, let's just match this. So gravity 3, 0.001, sensitivity 3, snap. 3, snap. And that should be all we need. So this will, I'm going to go ahead and do save project now. And so let's go in here and we're going to input.getAxis power. And actually we don't want an if statement here. We just want to make it so force plus equals input.getAxis power times time.delta time. And let's also put a little scalar in there. So let's do a public float force change rate equals 1.0f. I have no idea how it's going to operate, so I'm just going to start at that and we can tweak it from there.
Well, yeah, it's not going to do anything right away, but
force change rate. Yeah.
It's nice to have that modifier in there when you do need it.
Yeah. So if we hit play now, we've got a force of 50, and if I hit A, it's going up. There we go. And it goes up at that rate. So that's the reason that we put the little multiplier in there. So now we can tweak this around. So if I go into our main camera and we look at our fire projectile script, we've got a force change rate here. So we can change this to like 10.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And now when we hit it, it advances that much faster.
Oh, it doesn't stop instantly.
Yeah, that's because it's on fixed update, I think. Oh, is it?
No, it's just on regular update. That's weird.
Oh, okay. That's because it's... So we can fix that. So the reason it's doing that is because it's treating it as an analog. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to fix it because I kind of want it to work properly in an analog environment. But in theory, we can do it. Let's do it because we're going to have to create another power one anyway for the joystick. Mm-hmm. And that's actually the reason they have these set up is so that you can do different gravity settings and stuff. So if we just set this to like 0... Wait, no. Okay, so if we set these to be more like the joystick axis here.
0.
Yeah, 0 and 1. So let's do 0 and 1 and see if that fixes our little problem. So if I hit up and then release. Nope, it made it worse. Made it far worse. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
All right, so that's not
that did exactly the opposite of what I thought it would do.
So maybe gravity 1000. Let's try the other direction.
That's super sensitive.
Yeah, we'll
has
see
a lot of gravity. Yeah, gravity.
Yeah, there we go.
Gravity. That makes sense.
Yeah, that
because
does make sense. It pulls the rate of change back down.
Yep. And with gravity 0, there's no.
And this is already hooked into the shooting power now. So if we increase the power by double, we should see the projectile move considerably faster.
Wow.
Yeah, it's working pretty good. And if we bring it down, you'll see it go down in power. And so what we can do here is we can kind of tweak for gameplay. And so what we're going to... In our final version, we're going to have the maximum power and minimum power set to some values, right?
Yes.
And right now we're not limiting that, but we can figure that out by just playing around now. So like if we fire right now, you can see that we can still we can basically directly shoot at the tower. Which, if we want this game to be interesting, we want to actually limit that. So our maximum power would probably be somewhere in the 30s or something. Let's see if we can actually hit it with this. So we actually have a...
I don't know if it went over or not.
It
did not go over.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just in a test distance right now. Anyway, I'm just showing point of proof of concept here. So so there we go. So let's all right, let's make it so that we control with the arrow keys now.
Make it so.
And let's bring us into a third-person perspective. Let's actually make it so that we have a cannon
Just
type
use
thing.
I'd use just a cylinder.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to use.
Fantastic.
So here's our awesome cannon.
That's a cannon.
And we're going to create a parent game object so that we can orient this in a way that's not stupid.
In a meaningful orientation.
Yes. So we're going to call this the cannon.
Can we call it cannonballs cannon fodder?
Yeah, we could call it cannonballs cannon fodder if you want. Isn't that's the name of one of those classic games, isn't it?
I think so.
Yep. God, I love this genre actually. So rotation. There we go. We want to rotate this one 90 degrees so that the cannon is actually facing some direction on the Z. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna move the. Okay, so we're using a mouse look script right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's create our own script before we actually do the rest of this. So I'm going to create a new C# script called Cannon Aim Script.
Sweet.
Oh, let's quit this stupid thing.
I like Better Snap Tools so much, except
I do
for
too,
when
except
it
for
does
when it's
that.
messing with my flow here. So, use this for initialization. Update called every frame. All right, so cannon aim. Let's do a public float. Actually, let's do something fancy. Let's do a public vector to aim speed. This will allow us to set the aim speed individually, and I'm going to default this one to vector 2.1. What this means is it'll be a 1 in both the x and the y. And so when we multiply this in for our speed, it will just work.
That's pretty sweet.
And so public vector 2 aim speed. And do we need anything else on here? Let's just start with that. So in update, we're going to do if input.get axis horizontal. Actually, we don't even need enough. We're going to be doing some math here. So we're going to do transform dot rotate all right, transform dot rotation equals quaternion dot, what do we have from to rotation, look rotation, rotate towards
To and from max degrees.
Yeah, we don't need quaternions for this. Let's see. We just have a transform dot rotate, right? Rotate. So we're doing rotate, and we give it Euler angles for the rotation. Right, let's try it. So we need vector 3. So new vector 3. And we will use horizontal times time dot delta time. Input dot get axis vertical times time delta time. Actually, let's save us, even though this means the same thing. We'll do the multiplying afterwards. And we'll do 0. So we want to be rotating around the x-axis, which would be it would effectively be, okay, so we actually want this to be vertical, I think, because we're rotating around the x-axis. Probably overthinking this. Here, let's just see what it does first.
Yeah, I'd say just try it and see what happens.
First. So we have our new vector, and then we can multiply that by scalars, so I'm going to multiply aim speed and time dot delta time. So what this means is we will be constructing this vector 3 based on the horizontal and vertical axes, and then multiplying that value by our aim speed and time.delta time to get our final value. So if we... Okay, we're doing something. We can't do vector 3 and vector 2 here. Okay. Oh, wait, we can't multiply... Yeah, that doesn't make any sense on the aim speed. So, because they're separate aim speeds, so we have to actually put that in here. So, times aim speed, because we did it fancy as a vector 2, so we're going to do aim speed.x and times aim speed.y. I do think we have these reversed even though they look right, but let's give it a shot. So, I'm going to put this on... Let's put it on our camera for right now. I'm going to remove the mouse look. Now let's put it on this. So let's move the camera Canon aimed onto that object. Actually, we want this on the parent. I don't know why I decided to put it on the... Probably because it doesn't have a collider at that level. So I'm going to actually remove this collider because we're not going to need it.
Oh.
And we're going to put the Canon aim script on the Canon. You are tired tonight, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit sleepy today.
Yeah. Oh no, what did I do?
What happened?
Oh, that's because we got the Canon there.
Oh, wow.
Just can't see it.
Oh,
so
wow.
let me move that so that it's
that was
not
really
directly
confusing,
in the
actually.
way. So now if we hit play, we have a Canon here, and I'm going to hit left, and it's rotating up and rotating down when I hit right, and it's rotating right when I hit up, and yeah, so I did have it reversed. So even though we're doing, like usually we think of X, Y, Z in vectors, and we usually think X to the right, Y up, right? And so it seems odd that you would use vertical on the X component and horizontal on the right, but this is the axis that you're rotating around, and that's the reason that it's different. So I'm going to just copy this over here and delete that and paste. Whoops, don't delete that. Copy it, then delete it. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So now we've flipped them. So now if I hit play, we'll... Where did I go? Okay. Rotate left, rotate right, good. Rotate down, rotate up. So that's opposite of... I'm going to leave it, though. It's just inverted control for right now. Yeah, I'm going to leave it for the moment. If we want to change that, all you have to do is just make it so that the vertical is negated. Just do a negative here if you want to reverse it. You can even have a variable if you want to make it as an option in your game. No. So... aim speed.
Could have it as a bool.
Yeah, so let's up our aim speed now to actually make it kind of fun. Let's move it to 10 and 10. Alright, there we go. We have our Canon moving. Now, right now the Canon, if I rotate it into view here, you'll see that it's actually pivoting on the center of it, which most Canons are actually kind of attached at the base somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to change that real quick. I'm also going to put a little bit more effort, not a lot, just a little bit more effort into our Canon. I'm just going to create a sphere. I'm going to throw it into our Canon. So it's a 0, 0, 0. And then we're going to take this sphere, make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it like 2 times as large. Is that too much? That's too much. 1.5 times.
Oh my.
Yeah, that looks good. And then we move this over so that it's at the end. Whoops, no. That's not what I want to do. We move the other one over so that it's at the end. And now it will rotate around that sphere point, naturally, because it's actually at the center here, 0, 0, 0. So if we hit play, we'll see that we have more of a somewhat more traditional Canon. It's a little bit strange looking at first because it's not already angled up, so I'm probably going to change that.
Yeah, I think that's
and
a good idea.
let's bring it so that it's a little bit closer to the screen. And let's go ahead and offset the camera a little bit. So there we go. So if we shoot right now, it's still probably coming out of the camera. And yes, it is. But we can fix that easily by just copying the fire projectile component, copy component, and we place it on our
Slap
cannon.
it right on the cannon.
And it doesn't really matter where it spawns from, so I'll just put it on the cannon proper. So cannon, we go to one of these and choose paste component as new. And let's go ahead and get rid of the one that's on the camera. So if we hit play now, when we... Oh, A is evidently also mapped to left and right on... because WASD is mapped by default. So, alright, so we have it... Oh, I moved the wrong thing when I moved that cannon, evidently. How did this happen? Wait, what?
Maybe the...
Oh, was I making an assumption? I might have been making a terrible, terrible assumption. Let's see. If we go to fire projectile, it's transformed that position. Wait, what the heck? That looks very wrong.
That seems... it's offset by, like,
Yeah,
1.
it looks like it.
No, it's definitely offset.
Make sure that we're not crazy.
Well, its position is at the Y of -0.9.
Why did its position change? Oh.
Oh, but that's
Wait,
appropriate.
that's fine, yeah. It's the cylinder and sphere that might be...
Well,
no, but it's spawning from here. Huh.
Yeah, I'm very confused about this.
Oh, wait, maybe it's something to do with our cannonball. Yes, this is probably the problem. So, no, this isn't the problem. I was hoping that a renderer was going to be underneath something in some strange way.
But it's not.
Alright, so this thing's not rotated right. I'm just going to hit shoot and hit pause and see what we've got here. So we've got a ball that is totally offset. Oh, I know what's happening.
What's happening?
We didn't remove the collider from the sphere, and it's hitting the sphere.
That makes sense.
Yes. So now if we go back in, yay, it's shooting cannonballs.
Okay, good.
It looks awesome. And we can look around, so like when we have a vast, beautiful CG landscape to view, we will be able to enjoy the vista as we destroy our opponents with cannons. And we're gonna have power-ups like volley.
Bola cannons. That'd actually be awesome.
Yeah.
2 cannonballs on a chain.
Yes, it would. I'm actually very happy with how this is turning out so far.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Alright, so we have our cannon. So now let's actually do some of the turn-based stuff. Because I promised that it was going to be a turn-based game, and people seem to be curious about how to make it a turn-based game. So we're going to create a new script. I'm going to call this Turn Manager. And we will go ahead and create a new empty game object to contain it. And we'll put this on the game object, even though it doesn't really do anything yet. And we'll call this Turn Manager. And I'm just going to move it up to, because we don't care about where it's at all in the world, I'm just going to move it so that it's out of our general view. It's probably going to be in the same position as our wonderful little directional light. Directional light, meet turn manager. Nope, directional light is further up or something. Oh, yes, 1,000. Okay, so, yeah. Didn't quite make it there. So, cannon. So let's start with this thing rotated already a little bit so that it feels more like a cannon. Let's just start it at like 20 degrees.
That sounds like a good plan.
Let play and we'll see how it looks. Yay. Alright. We'll want to make it harder than that.
Yeah, I would hope so, yeah.
So, now we have to make this actually turn-based. So, our turn manager is basically going to take account of the state of the game and determine when people can shoot and stuff like that. So, what we're going to do is we're probably going to still use our fire projectile script because the game does need projectiles to fire and actually do things. And but what we're going to do is we're going to hook it into our turn manager in such a way that it will inform the turn manager to change things or do things as it needs to. So so let's begin with the turn manager script. So let's do public. Let's see. Do we actually need any options for the turn manager right now?
Not currently.
Let's do int shots per
shots
turn.
per turn, yeah.
Because we could play around with that if we want. We'll just default it to 1 for right now. And we could potentially have something like number of teams, but we're just going to assume 2 teams.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll add that later. So we really don't need a whole lot of variables. We're going to be doing a lot of private variables and stuff. What was that?
Lords of Lunar, like the 8-player Pong
Oh, yeah,
game.
yeah, Warlords, yeah.
Yeah, 8-player Pong.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, actually. Stupid passcode thing to get into that. How did you play it 8 players? I forgot.
I don't probably do two multi-taps.
Multi-taps, yeah.
Yeah.
So, shots per turn equals 1. So, we're going to need to be able to figure out whose turn it is. So, let's make a public int player. Let's see.
Current player, maybe?
Current player. I like that. And let's default this to 0. And, So what we're going to do is we're going to have some sort of way to make, I guess that's really all we need for state, right? Just current player.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make it so that if the current player is 0, we're going to pretend that no one controls it.
Yeah.
And what we're going to use that state for is when you fire the projectile, it will show the projectile firing until a certain point, either time or when it hits something, and then it will actually switch it to the next player's turn.
Okay.
And then they can do their thing. So let's go ahead and let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just start with that. This is really, really simple to start with. So we have our turn manager, and we need to have some scripts, some functions that actually make this useful. So let's make a void has fired, and we'll have it take a player number. So we'll do an int player number. I guess we can take that as inherent. So whatever the current player is, we will do what we have to do here. And so we're going to make this a public void. And all this is going to do for right now is set current player equals 0. And we will do a public so has fired will just turn current player to 0.
Okay.
Void actually, no, that's not what we wanted to do. We wanted it to be a little bit more complex than that. We want to do shots per private int current shots. We're going to make this a we'll keep that public. in case we need to access it from something else. So private current shots, and we will do in the start thing here. Current shots equals shots per turn.
All right.
And so current shots minus minus, and if current shots is less than or equal to 0, then we will set current player to 0. And we can, at this point, we can go ahead and reset the shots. And we won't allow them to actually shoot until we're done here. We're kind of building up some structure here. What's up with that?
Okay. I don't know.
Let's go ahead and just do flag for spam.
I just didn't even notice that right now. So you're like, oh my.
Current shots equals shots per turn. We can move around some of this reset stuff as we're going. Basically, I'm just kind of thinking through how we're going to be using this. We're going to be using shots per turn to determine how many shots we've taken. We use has fired in our, we basically call that in our fire projectile to decrease the number of shots and determine if it's the end of the turn for that player. Mm-hmm. And we'll do another one here called, let's see, switch player. So let's make it so, let's just do it by time for right now. Let's do a public float cannonball time equals 10 seconds. .0f.
Yeah, that works for me.
And so we have the cannonball time. We're going to do switch player. All right, current player equals 0. So we need to actually keep track of the previous player at some point too. So we'll just do public int previous player. So we'll do previous player equals current player. Current player equals 0. And then switch player we will call with a timer. We'll just do invoke switch player, and we will invoke it in cannonball time. So what this does is it just means that once it gets to this line, it calls this function, but after cannonball time has elapsed. Mm-hmm. And so then when in switch player, we'll just set current. So we have previous player. So current player equals previous player plus 1, and if previous player is greater than or equal to let's do greater than 2, because that's the number of players we have. If player is greater than 2, then we set current player to 1. So the reason I've set it up this way is because now if we wanted to later, we could set number of players, and we could just add the number of players here. Mm-hmm. And then we will now be able to support any number of players and switch between the states properly. And so what this is doing is basically state 0 we're using as the state for the player does not have control. And state 1 is where player 1 has control, and state 2 is when player 2 has control. And so that's the basic setup. Let's see what we did wrong here. Oh wait, we didn't do anything wrong. It was holdover from last time I moved over here. So we hit play. Everything's good. Turn manager's not doing anything really exciting. So let's default this to 1 on the current player, and actually let's do that up here too. And honestly, we shouldn't be able to adjust this in the editor. So, but I do want to keep it public, and so we can do that. We can do hide in inspector, and that makes the next thing on the next line not show up in the inspector. So if we hit play, if we hit save, we come back here, current player will disappear. But it's actually still there, and it's still public, but we can't see it or play with it. So, and I think if we go to debug mode, it'll still show up. So
yeah,
it'll show. No, it doesn't.
Can you modify it?
It doesn't.
No?
Interesting. It's less useful.
Why not just have it be a private at that point?
Yeah, we could do that.
Because then at least you can modify the private in the inspector.
Alright. We'll break that later.
Okay.
So, so now we have to actually do something to honor this. So what I think would be the best way to do this is, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do it using a disabling scheme. And what I mean by this is we will have a list of items that belong to player 1 and a list of items that belong to player 2.
Okay.
And we will enable and disable these items or scripts as we need to in the turn manager. And so let's see how this works out for us. So I'm going to create another public variable into the turn manager here. We're going to call it public player 1 objects, and this is going to be called a game object type. Public game object
player 2 object.
So wait, hold on, I just need to see something here. Game object dot disable enabled. Is it transform? Transform dot enabled active.
Thought it is active or something.
Okay, it's game object active.
Is active?
Yeah, set active. There we go.
Set
Alright,
active.
cool.
There we go.
So yeah, game objects are appropriate. So player 1 objects and player 2 objects. And what we will do is when a player's switched at the end here, we will should we do it in an update? We'll do it on the switch.
Yeah,
we'll also do it when we start. So let's go ahead and create a new function called public switch. No, wait, we already call it switch player. So what are we going to call this one? Really switch player? Switch player
reals.
harder for reals. Let's do enable player. Even though we're going to enable and disable a player. Really switch player.
Not like that other switch player.
Public void. So what we're going to do is everything for each game object in player 1 objects. Oh, okay, so wait. Yeah, let's not do it with 2 separate variables. Let's instead do an array of arrays. So I actually wanted this to be an array anyway, but I didn't set it as this. But instead of doing player 1 objects and player 2 objects, we're going to do a player objects, which is a 2-dimensional array. Equals new player new game object. We don't even need to do this, do we? Let's just see what happens if we just do this.
See if it gets angry at you.
Yeah, it's probably going to be fine. So we go to turn manager and Did I make that private? No, it's public.
Should be.
If I do this, does it show up? Yes.
There it is.
So that probably means that we can't do this in the editor, which means that I'm not going to do it this way.
Yeah, it does not like that.
All right, let's do an array of lists. That's what we'll do. So we're going to add a using system.collections.generic, and we're going to do a list game object array called player objects.
All right.
This won't work either, will it? Yeah, I'm asking way too much out of this. All right.
Couldn't you do an array and an array?
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's just do it the way we were doing it before. Player one objects, fine. We'll just do this for now.
Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah. Evidently, I hadn't thought it through. Player two objects. And so, if current player equals, we're going to do really switch player here, and we're going to do really switch player in start as well. I'm going to get riv updated. I don't think we're going to need that for here.
All right.
So if current player is equals 1, then we for each game object in player 1 objects obj.set active true, and we do the same thing in player 2 objects.
Oh, I didn't realize he asked another question about the raycasting.
Okay.
Hey guys, just a follow-up question. Should I raycast from the gun itself or from the center of the camera?
I would say draw your effects from the gun, but raycast from the center of the camera.
Yeah, it's easier
That
to
way,
read.
the problem if you don't do it that way is you'll tick off the player when you hit something that you didn't feel like you were going to hit because of the difference in angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would suggest, and actually modern shooters try to do. Yeah, I mean, like so when you're shooting from the hip, they're actually doing the raycast from the front, but then they're firing, like they're showing the bullets from the hip.
Yeah.
And then when they look down the barrel, they're usually looking pretty much right down where they're firing anyway. So, but yeah, so that would be my suggestion on that. So current player equals 2, then we do the opposite. This would be the fastest way to make that happen. All right. So now when we come here, we should have 2 arrays: player 1 objects, player 2 objects. And so let's go ahead and make our wall spawner and base into a prefab. I'm going to actually put the wall spawner on the base. I don't think it's going to affect anything. Let's make sure. Okay, it looks like it still worked. So we're going to call this, base. That's a good name for it.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a base. All right. I'm going to go ahead and create a prefab of that. And so we're going to call this one the player 2 base, because we're shooting at player 2. And we're going to create another base called the player 1 base.
I did not see that coming.
Nope, not at all. And we'll move this one to, oops. Oh, wait, that was right. So, no, not 1,000, it's a 0. So, where are we looking at for the cannon? So, we're going to see a big wall right in front of us, which is not going to be terribly useful.
But you can shoot at it.
Yeah, we could shoot right through it. Just, and then work our way to the enemy. So, let's move our camera and cannon up. So I'm going to go ahead and parent the... I'm going to put the camera in... No, that doesn't make sense. Let's not do that. Let's create a empty game object called player1 stuff junk. And we're going to put our cannon and main camera in here. And let's make the player1 junk be higher on the Z. We'll hit play. Find the right height, so 5. That's not good enough, so we'll go right about there. So that's what we'll do for right now. So 16.94, let's just do 16. See how that looks again. Alright, cool. Looking pretty cool. So, and this will prevent players from shooting too downward an angle. Yeah. Or something. So, I'm going to go ahead and prefab this. I'm just going to call it player junk in here. And then I'm going to actually call this player1 junk. And we'll create another player junk called player2 junk.
It's a lot of junk.
And so the player2 junk, we will move to basically the opposite of this. We'll add 100, and we'll turn it around in the Y by 180, and we will go ahead and see player2 junk where this is at. That looks about right. Alright, cool. And so we're going to call this whatever. I don't want to rename it. We'll just call it main camera because we're only going to have one camera active at a time anyway.
Yeah.
So now, since we have all these kind of tidied up, actually, if we go to our turn manager, we can just drag our player2 junk into player2 objects and our player1 junk into player1 objects. We don't want to do our base in there because our base doesn't disable. It's the wall. We want the wall to be enabled at all times. So now, if we hit play, nothing exciting is going to happen other than we're going to see that there's a, well, oh, something exciting did happen. We don't see a cannon on the other side because it was disabled. We may change the way that this works in a moment so that we can separate rendering from this, but this at least is showing that our concept at least works for the moment. So, so if I hit fire right now or move things, it will just move this cannon and it will fire and things are happy. But they're not happy enough because we're only supposed to be able to fire once. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually add into our fire projectile the call to switch player. So, and we should be doing this as a singleton. I'll set that up next time, but for right now we're just going to do a public static.
Quick and easy static.
And we will change the player to be static too because I think it will require that. So private static and current player. File save. And so now, oh wait, we didn't want switch player to be static, we want has fire to be static. So if I hit save on this, does that cause any ache? Okay, there's a problem. Turn manager, current shots. Oh yeah, we'll just do static on that. Let's make it all static. As I said, we'll switch this to a singleton later in life.
Oh, more.
All right, previous player also static. File save. Shots per turn. Oh, that's getting uglier. All right. Private int initial shots. Initial shots equals shots per turn. private static int, and we'll do initial shots here, and we will set. I'm kind of doing a hack job right now, admittedly. But basically, we needed to get access to this in such a way that's meaningful, and so we're just going to use a static reference that we set using the inspector. You can't set statics in the inspector, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. That's the reason I have to work around this. So, so shots per turns, we'll do initial shots.
Yeah, you can't set them in the editor.
And one more. Invoke. Oh, well, that's... Well, we can just make this static. No.
No, we got one more.
This is really... I'm really feeling ugly about this one now. Okay, alright, we're backing it out. This has gone too far. Alright, this is why you don't cheat. So, let's get rid of the static stuff.
Yeah, so much static.
We're going to do it the other lazy way that doesn't require me to look up my other script. So, but is actually totally legitimate. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a, in our fire projectile, we will create a public turn manager, and then we'll just drag in a reference to that. So if we go to our player one junk on the cannon, we drag in our turn manager, and then on the player two junk in our cannon, we drag in our turn manager. And so now we can just use that reference to do what we were going to do before. So we want has fired. All we do is do fire projectile. So if we fire, we do this stuff, and then we do turn manager dot has fired. I'll save. All right. Oh, and we need to do one more thing here. So if current player is 0, then we disable both sides. And we do false in both cases. Save, hit play, and we should have a turn-based game. So here we are with player one. I'm gonna aim my thing. I'm gonna shoot. And then in 10 seconds, so, oh, I can move still. Wait, why did that? Oh, because we didn't actually call switch players at that point. All right, no, switch to the other side. That's cool.
Okay,
so
cool.
let's see what where my logic is. So really, switch player happens here. So actually, we want that in. So we do switch player. Okay, so we actually want to do. We want to do another one called public void.
Stop moving.
No, we can just directly. We're in the function. We can just do it here. We'll just do. So, current player equals 0. Oh, I see. We need to do a really switch player right here. So that it actually, because we're changing the player, but we're not actually making it do things. So I will just create a really switch player here. And file save. And now when we fire, oh, this is not going to work well either, because it's going to disable our camera the moment we fire. Yep, there we go. There goes our camera. So Alright, so we'll just pick a special case here. If object dot camera, if not obj dot camera, I'm not sure if that'll actually work. I don't think it will. If I hit save, it's going to say something about a type error or something. No, evidently that totally works. So if the object does not have a camera, then we will disable it. And we will do the same thing for the other side. And then we're not going to put this special case in the other stuff here, and this should solve our problems. So we hit fire. Oh, nope, didn't solve our problems.
No,
it's because it's a child of the object. So if not game object, okay, obj.get components, get component in children, camera. So the difference here is it's actually looking through the whole child thing, because we're just giving it a parent somewhere along the way. And so
camera.
Oh, wait, and this won't work either because this doesn't disable the actual canon. Alright, we're going to have handle cameras separately somehow. So let's just do player 1 objects, player 2 objects, public game object, player 1 camera, public game object. We'll probably be cleaning this up later.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing for the next episode.
Yeah. Player 2 camera. And we will just make it so that these ones are... No, because they're a sub-object. Alright, so we'll just have to make sure that the camera is not actually part of the prefab.
Player junk?
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We'll call this the player 2 camera. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Continue. Player 1 camera.
Camera.
And what else do we have to do? So we have that. I'm going to go ahead and, in case we use this later, I'm just going to remove the main camera from this. If I can. Which I guess I can't.
You need to just reapply the prefab.
I'm just going to delete this prefab. We're not going to use it. We'll create a new one called player 1 junk. And get rid of the 1. And player 1 junk. And it's not like... Well, it is like, so let me just fix that on the player 2 junk as well. So delete. Actually, let's copy the transform first so we don't have to deal with that. Copy component, delete, place another player junk in here, call it player 2 junk, and paste the component values. There we go. And so now if we go to our turn manager, we're going to put our cameras in here. So player 1 camera will be here. Player 2 camera will be here. And so we will disable everything here. And we're not going to worry about the cameras at all. And get that back to the proper tabbing. So, so not going to worry about the camera in there, but we are going to worry about it in here. So in here we want to do player 1 camera dot set active equals true, and player 2 camera set active equals false. Well, not equals, but false. Sorry, I'm used to the old non-function version. And so we just do and Player 2 camera. False. And the other one's true. It already is. Cool. So... Oh, wait. No. But it's the opposite order because I wanted to mess myself up.
Yes. You want player 1 to be...
Let's fix this right now. 1, false. 2, true. And then we reverse these, false and true. Knew that was going to bite me in the butt. Happened quickly, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so now we have everything set up, and hopefully it'll just work. So we fire, and I can't... Oh.
That's funny.
That is funny. Player 2 objects doesn't have anything in it because we got rid of player 2 junk, so let's fix that. That was cool that they shot and hit the middle.
Hit each other, yeah.
So we hit fire, and obviously we don't want our cannon just disappearing, but now we can't move the cannon or do any of that stuff because the cannon no longer exists for the most part.
It should switch.
And then it should, after a time, switch to the other player. Here we go.
It did.
And we have the other player, and so we fire.
The other player's cannon.
Oh god,
still
his
there.
cannon's still there. Why is his cannon still there? So we have a logic error. Current player equals 2. Alright.
I do not know.
We might have a problem with our player thing. So we're going to hit fire. This previous player's 1. I'm going to set this to debug so we can see current player. So current player 0. And we're done. So it's current player 2 now. So I'm going to hit shoot. And it's not current player 0. Null reference exception. What happened? So turn manager dot has fired. Oh! It's because the other player didn't have the turn manager in their junk. So we drag turn manager back in here, and now let's see if it works. So we fire, we can no longer fire again. We wait for things to happen. And
Realize 10 seconds is a long time.
Fire again.
It disappeared, which is a good sign. And we hope it switches.
Yep, this is the moment of truth. Moment of truth.
No, something didn't go right.
Alright. What went wrong? So, if we go to our
Is
turn
it on
manager...
player turn manager 3?
Yeah, let's find out. Turn manager says previous player is 2. The current player is 3, yes.
Yeah, so it went to 3 instead of...
So, I thought we had checked for that, but I guess we didn't. So, if previous player is...
greater than 2.
So, why didn't that happen?
Because it's greater than 2.
Current player.
Yeah.
That's why.
That makes sense.
Alright.
One last time.
One more time. And actually, before we do this, let's go to Turn Manager and set this down to like 5 seconds. So that we don't have to wait an eternity.
Save it, too.
Oh, okay. Save it. Fine. Save scene, save project, hit play. Got such a long night ahead of me. Alright.
So at least it's 5 seconds now.
And we shoot again. And I hit something, yay! And then it switches to the other player, and I'm like, oh, my castle is all messed up. This is horrible. And so I fire one back, and
it hits.
Yay! All right, so we have the
cool.
basics. We have the basics. We'll clean it up later.
Yeah.
Make it awesome. But
we got
that gives us a
game right
very
there.
basic turn-based concept here. So, just the face. Thank you for... Look worse than I thought I was going to look.
Oh my.
No, I'm going to retreat. Retreat. We'll go with this. All right. Thank you for joining us. Yeah.
What do we usually do here?
I guess we do the email thing. So if you want to email us at pushypixels or email me at pushypixels@pushypixels.com, and you can also tweet me at Dragfire. And you should buy Phil's game Robot Alone on iOS.
Yep, you can buy it. You can also send me an email. It's philip@protosoftworks.com. Or you can follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Magma Lemur, MAGMALEMUR. That's right, Magma Lemur. And you should donate to Cooking with Unity. There's a little donation button on the YouTube page somewhere where I'm not sure where it is, but you should click it.
Yes, you'll get keychains and you'll get coasters eventually. I'm still working on the printing. Give me another 2 weeks, folks. I'm really sorry. Just because I'm pretty busy at work and I'm not sure when I'm gonna have time to actually go over and get that supervised. So
cool. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, and you
tentatively,
guys
2D Thursday.
Yeah.
This coming Thursday.
So we'll see you on Thursday, hopefully, if you're into the 2D stuff. So
have a good night.
Yep. Have a great one. And now we let it run for a little bit.
Yeah, we just ramble.
So every object brought in automatically has a collider.
Yeah, that is kind of... I mean, it's
not entirely true. It's just the built-in ones are that way.
He said base model or imported.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They put like a... What type of collider did they put on the imported?
I would think a mesh collider.
It's horrible.
I would think mesh collider, yeah.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
Well, that's why you just get rid of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a lot to talk about. A little sleepy today.
Or do I? Do you like the PlayStation 4 though?
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I'm
happy with mine.
I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
PS4.
I need to figure out how I'm going to.
Good times.
I got mine through Justin because I helped him out with something, and I'm very, very thankful for that. And so I'm not really sure how I'm going to get an Xbox One, so I'll probably have to wait on that until next year sometime.
Xbox One, you can go down to the Goodwill, find one of those.
Yeah, whatever. that system's going to be strong, just like anything before.
No, I'm talking about the Xbox One.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Sorry, you were making that joke.
Yeah, I was making... No, I was not talking about the new one.
Why did they call it the Xbox One?
Because they wanted to confuse me and irritate me when I was talking about the original Xbox.
So I just realized we could call it the XBX, like the PSX. We could do XBX for...
No.
Yeah, you don't think so?
No, I'll just call the new one the Xbone.
That works. So Xbox One versus Xbone.
I think, yeah.
What's funny is we're just using that. Like, I don't think we have a particular ire against it. It's just a way to differentiate at this point. So.
I just wish they wouldn't have called something that wasn't the first one.
Yeah.
That's personal preference, though.
Anyway,
no hate.
Probably enough jabbering. So you guys have a great night.
We'll cut out that jibba jabba.